Good morning to you, the Daybreak Show on this April 1st. No fooling, Spencer. We got two great guests in studio right now. We check in with you like that one?
Yes.
With the EDC. It's Karin Leaf. Bert Fisher here as well from our Community Credit Union. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jeff.
Good to see you.
Good seeing you.
Karin, what's the deal? Why do we have Bert in studio today?
You know, I have a great deal of admiration and respect for Bert,
He's a
and
great
I'm a
guy.
big fan of OCCU.
Sure.
But he's a big supporter of the Economic Development Council. He's a big supporter of our community. There's a lot of things that they do. They don't self-promote. I don't know if Bert's going to touch on any of that today, but he very generous to our local organizations and
Sure.
businesses.
Well, just earlier today, we had the Sheriff's Sit Down, which the good folks at our Community Credit Union sponsor, as well as our Focus on Shelton. So just here on the air, as well as I know you guys put in a lot to the canine units.
Yeah, we do.
Why?
Yeah.
What is? I mean, I know that our Community Credit Union, starting out as Simpson Credit Union,
Yep.
before that, so it's already had tons of ties in the community. Is that kind of where the mantra comes from, the mission statement?
You know, we've always been very, very active in supporting the community. And when you think about any community, what is one of the major factors you need to have in every community? And that is you need to have a safe community. And, you know, early on, way back when Casey was first starting a canine program for Mason County, we bought the first dog for those guys, and we've continued to support them in terms of purchasing other dogs, dog food, their needs there, and that's spilled over to to Darren Moody and his tenure, and the team he's put together there. And you know, law enforcement has such a tough job nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, it is very, very tough.
Oh, yeah.
And the great thing about the canine dogs, I always laugh about it, but it's going to be the best employee you have. I mean, you don't have to give it a raise. You're not going to have any HR issues with it. You're going to have 7 to 9 years of good, useful life out of them.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you know, most of the criminals aren't going to run when there's a dog.
No.
So it allows the police to just recycle, get back out onto the beat and doing things. And it keeps them safer too, which is what we need to do. So Darren came this year. They were looking for adding a canine dog, and we've bought that for them. And then actually last week, we just tied up a deal. We're involved in funding a dog for Aberdeen Police Department.
Wow, that's great.
So we're doing one over there. And then last year, we did a canine for Grace Harbor Sheriff's Department, and then help support and fund one for the McCleary Police Department, too.
You got a lot of great employees that work at our Community Credit Union, and so you get
Very
to kind of
true.
go out and do the fun things where you give the big checks or you show off the fact that here we go with the dog. But as we were talking with the undersheriff today, there's a lot of folks behind the scenes that make everything work right and work well. And another interesting note about you and our Community Credit Union and the community around is I heard you speak at the State of the County address at the Little Creek, and you know, and on paper you guys with Peninsula are competitors, but at the same time you say, listen, credit unions are great,
Yeah.
and they're great for everybody, and come visit us. You go visit them, that works as well. But what is it about a credit union that's so special?
Well, they're owned by the members. So we're not for profit. So everybody who has a deposit there is essentially an owner of that credit union, and we're there to serve those people. You know, at the end of the day, the magic's in the people. I mean, you figure out the people, you're going to find the magic.
Yeah.
And Jim and I are good friends. And you know, frankly, if they're doing something better than we are, then we need to up our game. And I know he feels the same way that way. And in the end, you know, it's all the members and the consumers that end up winning as a result of that.
What's the future look like for our Community Credit Union, and where else could you expand but still kind of keep that hometown feel?
You know, we were originally federally chartered, and then in 2010 we switched over to a state charter credit union. And when you're a state charter credit union, your board of directors defines your field of membership. So at that point in time, then the board of directors opened it up to all the school districts in the state of Washington.
Okay.
And so basically we have that in, you know, as expansion if we want to. But we always have our eyes and ears open. We've had a lot of opportunities, but you want to do it right, and you want to keep doing what you're doing, and do it at a high level of work quality, high level of consistency, where you're supporting the communities and doing that. You know, we're in Thurston County now,
Yeah.
we're in Mason County, we're in Grays Harbor, we've got a branch on Vashon Island, so we're in King County, and we'll continue to keep our eyes open and see what's there.
These are great local businesses that help the economic development of Mason County too.
Very
So when
true.
it comes to partnerships like this, you guys rely on great organizations that have been around for decades.
We do, very much so. Like I said before, our community credit union is a huge supporter of the community and our local businesses. So, I mean, we can't do it alone. It takes all of us to work together.
Sure. What else is going on this year? Our community's getting behind. Anything else that we can be excited for?
Well, Jeff, we grew over 12% last year.
That's
So
pretty
we had
good.
a
That's
huge-
great.
Yeah, we had a huge growth year last year, and we've got great employees. We'll continue to support things in the community, and we're just continuing to grow. The interesting thing in our business, and it's the same with everybody else, is the rate at which technology's changed in every industry.
Yeah.
And trying to stay on top of that. One of the biggest challenges we have is skim fraud, and the fraud that's going on.
Well, that's a big thing in Washington and around the country. Yeah.
Yeah,
We've been
it's been a big deal. I mean, the losses you take from that are immediate and hard. So
Have you guys seen any of those skimmers on any of your devices? Every time now I go to a place where I'll put my card in, I kind of jiggle the card reader
Yeah.
beforehand. I don't know what would happen if it fell off in my hand. I would get totally freaked out, but I would know that
bring it to us.
probably not the right-
they see you holding and they arrest you.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
we've never had a skimmer on any of our devices.
Okay.
The technology that we employ on that is a lot more than most retailers employ, and I know Jim does the same thing over at Peninsula, and the banks do too.
Yeah.
But it's still it's a huge challenge because they keep getting smarter in terms of what they're doing and garnering that information.
And even if you guys have cameras everywhere when it comes to these ATMs, but you would have to kind of have an idea of the last good transaction before the first bad transaction to figure out a timestamp to go back and even look.
Well,
Wouldn't you?
there's a couple things. I mean, we've got a lot of software programs. When we think there's any sort of a skim problem, we can run a program and look for commonality of purchase when we get a couple cards come in, so we can wire it down pretty quickly in terms of where we think the skimming occurred at. And when we do that, then you can identify what cards have been used there, and you start blocking those cards. So
Interesting.
it happens very fast. But as far as one of the most recent ones that happened, both in Mason County and Grace Harbor County. We actually have, we've got video footage of the guy, hitting Peninsula, hitting with these fraudulent cards, hitting Safeway, hitting us, going back to Safeway, going to us again, going up to Fred Meyer's. We have pictures of good pictures of the guys that we supplied to law enforcement, but they come into an area and they leave.
Yeah.
The good thing is, the members aren't losing money. We take the hit on it, but man, you just love to be able to just dial this back and catch these guys once in a
As
while.
quickly as the technology is there to keep us safe, it's just as easily
Right.
to harm us a little bit. Wow, that's a good conversation. You had great employees and Mark Knoll.
They have, great staff there. Love them.
No,
Karin,
we're blessed.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
And we'll check back in with the EDC reports. Of course, choosemason.com. And Bert, it's always good to see you, buddy.
Hey, thanks much.